Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to show you guys how to replace the white ink supply on a Ri1000. Now before we get started, if you guys have any kind of error codes, please remember to contact Ricoh Tech support, start a case with them, have them troubleshoot your unit. You don't want to avoid any kind of warranties. This video is just for reference only. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Once again guys, I'm going to show you guys how to replace the white ink supply on a Ri1000. The first thing we're going to need is going to be some shop towels, some lint-free wipes, some cleaning fluid, and a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to go ahead and turn our machine off by pressing the front power switch. Once the machine is off and the blue light in front of the machine stops blinking, we're going to go ahead and turn off the unit from the back. Next, we're going to come over towards our ink supplies or our ink bay. We're going to remove the two white ink cartridges. And below the cartridges, you're going to find two screws. One's located right here towards the left, one towards the back of the machine right here. We're going to go ahead and remove those two screws. And we're going to pull out our ink bay. Okay, once you got the ink bay pulled out, you're going to see a plate right on top. On this plate, we're going to remove the two rear screws. Some of the new units will have two screws here in the back. Mine's an older unit, so I only have these two screws. Once those are off, these four screws here in the front, there's two and these two. We're going to go ahead and just loosen those up a little bit. We're going to get our bracket here. We're going to pull it towards the back and then up to remove that. Once that's removed, we're going to remove also the holding plate for the prim lines. That plate is going to have two screws as well. It's 1 and 2. Next, we're going to get a shop towel and we're going to cover up the ink supply units and the connections. We don't want to get ink on them. We're also going to disconnect 3 cables. It's going to be this cable right here. It's going to be the red, white, and black and green cable. Hold that nice and tight, and you're going to pull that away from the ink supply unit. You're going to have these 2 smaller connections here. Keep in mind guys that these go in a sequence, so the first cable we're going to disconnect will be CN306. To disconnect that, we're going to hold the ink supply unit right here, this connection, and we're going to pull away. As you can see, the bigger connection here stays with my cables, the smaller one stays with the ink supply unit. We're also going to disconnect CN307, same process. And we're going to have a purple cable here on top. Let's connect that one as well. And these are all one-way connections, so they only go in one way. Remember guys, you want to write down the CN306 goes to the far left. The next one is going to be CN307. Next, we're going to remove these tubes here. If you guys have some gaskets or some caps, you can go ahead and cap those. Those will come with your new ink supply units. So when you pull these out, you want to cap those right away. I'm going to put one on my towel here, but you should have some little caps that go on there, the little black silicone caps. Once we got those removed, we're also going to remove a screw that's located in between both of the ink supply units. That screw is going to be way down there. Let me get a light for you guys so you can see it. You guys can see the screw. That's the one down there. We're also going to remove the 2 screws towards the front of the ink supply unit. You have 1 and 2 little screws. Let me get you a light. So you remove those 2 screws, 1 and 2. Okay, let's go ahead and get those 2 screws removed. And also the screw that's located between the pumps. Okay, so once you got the screws removed, we're going to pull this pump forward towards us. And then once it's released, we're going to pull it out towards the back, like so. Next, we're going to get our new ink supply unit, and we're going to go ahead and insert that back in there. Okay, remember guys, when you put this back in, there's going to be a clip towards the back of the ink bay. Right there. So the back of the ink supply unit needs to go into that clip. Let me show you what that's at. It's this piece right here. Alright, let's go ahead and put that back in there. We're going to go ahead and slide this towards the back. We're going to line up all the little holes where the screws go. And we're going to put these screws in loosely at first. That's 1. Screw number 2. And then screw number 3. Once you got all 3 screws in, just gonna carefully tighten those. Remember, this is plastic. You don't want to over tighten it. You don't want to break that plastic. We're gonna get a lint-free wipe and a little bit of cleaning fluid. And we're gonna start connecting some print lines here. Now when you connect these lines back up, the longer line goes here towards the outside ink supply, which would be my left if I'm facing it. So make sure we clean that off. Clean up the other one too. We don't want any dry ink being pushed into them. Remember guys, again, the longer tube goes here on the left. A good indication too, something you can do, you can mark these 1 and 2 so you know where they go. Once those are all the way in, we're going to reattach our holding plates. And these screws, we're going to put them on loosely at first, and then we're going to tighten them up. There's 1 and number 2. Once we got those 2 screws in, we're going to reconnect our connections. First, we're going to connect the purple cable, which is going to be here on the right on this connection. Next, we're going to connect CN306, which is going to be the connection here towards my left if I'm facing the unit. Now these are labeled. Remember the little sleeves here on the cable? You'll see on there it says CN306. That's going to be my left connection. CN307 will be my right connection. And I'm going to reconnect my power cable here, the one that's red, green, white, and black. Once I have all those connections in, I'm going to re-push all my tubes downward, make sure they didn't come up as I was putting the cables in. I'm going to slide my plate back in. Now when you put this plate back in, be careful not to pinch any of these cables. You don't want to damage them. Just going to put that in there and slide it forward. and then we're gonna reattach our screws. We're gonna loosely attach the back screws first. It's nice and loose. And then we'll tighten them up. We'll tighten the front screws. And we're tying these 4 screws here. These are what locks your cartridges in place, so make sure you retighten those. We're gonna slide our ink bay back into the machine, and we're gonna reattach or put back our 2 screws towards the outside of the ink bay that hold that in place. This one here on the left, and then the rear one or the one on the right. Okay guys, and that's how you replace the ink supply unit on a Ri1000. After you replace the unit, don't forget to go to your maintenance menu or your parts list and reset that you have replaced that. Thank you guys for joining me once again. Don't forget to subscribe. That's going to be the red R towards the bottom right of the screen. Leave us some comments. Let us know what kind of videos you guys want to see next. We'll get those posted. And as a reminder, if you guys have any error codes, please contact Ricoh Tech support. Have them troubleshoot the unit with you. You don't want to start tinkering around with it and avoid any kind of warranties. Thank you guys for joining us, and have a good day.